Hello, and welcome back to What is Syris reading this week? This is week 6, if I'm not mistaken. The first book I read this week, I'm actually saving for the last slot because I have a lot more to say about it, and it involves spoilers. So I'm going to rate it and then sign off, and then talk about the spoilers afterwards in case you don't want to spoil it for you. That's all for announcements. Let's get into it. First up, we have Runaways Volume 8, Dead End Kids. This one involves the Punisher, who right now is a controversial character. And it's two stories after Gert's death in Runaways number 6. And that story, she gets stabbed by Alex's dad from the past. Long story. Alex betrays him. And this one is pretty decent. It involves them going back in time at one point and learning about a bunch of stuff. And it's just really crazy, but also really good. And I give this one a solid 7.5 out of 10. Maybe pick it up, but you gotta read a lot of other Runaways first to understand it. Next is Exiles, new series, 2018, number 1, or volume 1. This is an all-new Exiles team, except the main character here, Blink. She was in the first Exiles, and this has Iron Lad, Khan, who's Camilla Khan from the future, like a little Wolverine guy from the ex-babies, but not ex-babies, but they're kind of kindergartenish, and a Valkyrie, which is inspired by the movie Valkyrie, the Valkyrie from the movie Thor Ragnarok. So before I say anything else, that's how this character is usually drawn. But in number 6, he's drawn differently, and he's so cooler when he's drawn that way. If I can find a picture. Yeah, there he is. Because they gave him more like an actual cartoon style like the Muppets, and I just prefer that, but that was just a side plot. So there's this thing that's eating time itself on all alternate realities. And so Blink is called by the Unseen, who's Nick Fury after Original Sin, after taking the Watcher's eyes and gaining the knowledge. And so she has to go save time and assembles this team. So this story, it's a little longer to read, but it's an enjoyable read. It gets a little wordy at some points. I'm not the biggest fan of wordy. Nick Spencer's all new Sam Wilson Captain America run. So it's okay. I mean, I enjoyed it for the most part. I haven't read the original Exiles, but this was pretty fun to read. So I give this a 8.5 out of 10. Pick it up if you see it. Don't really need to read the all-new X-Files. Now here's one I didn't think I'd like as much. Superman Volume 3 Multiplicity. I'm not a huge fan of Superman. I don't read a lot of his stuff. Superman just isn't a character that interests me all that much. But this run specifically, the Rebirth, the one where he reveals his identity, this is a great run. I love it. So, this one involves someone in time, or someone stealing all the Supermen from alternate reality and pulling them and keeping them. His name is... what's his name? Well, it's an alien thing. That's him right there. So, essentially that gets stopped. But then there's 2 other stories in it. The first one is a cool story called Dark Harvest that essentially it's nothing like the Invader Zim episode. And it's just, you don't know what's going on. It's like a little mystery. It's really fun to read. And the first one was Superman versus Swamp Thing. And if you're a fan of Swamp Thing, he's pretty cool. So this one's pretty fun to read. Don't really need to have any information besides Jonathan Kent's here, who's the son of Superman. He doesn't play a part till later on. This is a good read. The rest of the Superman series is a good read. So overall, I'd give the series a 9.5 out of 10. Even if you don't like Superman, pick that up. Next one, I'm not too fond of. America. Now, America Chavez is a character that was introduced in Vengeance 2. And it was Vengeance 2 or 1, I don't remember which one. She's going to appear in Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. That's already confirmed. But I just don't like her in this story. Sure, I get it. She's female, she's black, I believe, black or Hispanic, but they don't need to point that out constantly. Sure, once saying it, cool, get that. But then when her catchphrase is, taste this black fist, I believe it was oh, come on, you're just trying to tell me, yes, I get it. I get it. You don't need to explain to me. I can see you drew it. This was not really enjoyable. The part I did enjoy was when Kate Bishop came along, because the Kate Bishop solo series that was happening at the time was great. This series was not. She goes to college, breaks up with her girlfriend, a lot of other stuff happens. This one's not really worth the read. I mean, why even read it? It's not that great. Nothing important happens. Oh, she meets her grandma. Oh, spoilers. Whoops. This one I give like a 2 out of 10. Don't really read it. It's not that great. Too long to read anyways. Next one was the long one coming. Batman, The Dark Knight, number 3, The Master Race. So if you watched like week 2 or 3, I read Dark Knight Strikes Again. Before I started this, I read the original Dark Knight Returns. So this was the final big one in Legacy, because next is The Golden Child, and that's a one-shot. So this might be the final Dark Knight book I review. And all I have to say about this one is it's my second favorite of the series. This one involves Kryptonians not coming to Earth because they're already on Earth. If you read Strikes Again, you know what happens. They start attacking the Earth, and that's the Master Race. So you're like, what's going to happen? And it's great. Carly's back, and she's Batman for a time before it happens later in the story. But it's 18 issues in here, but I read it really quickly because, well, it's 18 issues because some of the like solo issues where it's like World's Finest, Trinity, those don't feel like full-on issues. Those are more like 3 pages, but it's still really good. So if I had to rank the Dark Knight books, it goes Strikes Again, this one, and then the original Dark Knight. Not saying that any of them are bad, it's just my personal preference over which ones I prefer. So this one, if you read the other ones, which you have to really understand it, I give this one a solid 9 out of 10. Pick that up if you've read the other ones and if you enjoyed Dark Knight. Next one I was kind of hoping more of. Deadpool Max, Volume 2, Voluntary Armageddon. So, before I explain this book, I have to explain what Max was. Max was a spin-off of Marvel that eventually got introduced to the Ultimate Universe in a different story, whatever. So, Max involves like a lot of blood and violence. It's essentially for mature readers only, but there's nothing really too bad. Oh, they uncensor the curse words. Woo, God. This one it was boring. Like, I was reading it, and it just felt boring. Because, like, sure, there's the art. The art just looks, not going to say it looks bad, but it looks kind of, like, sloppy. You know what I mean? It's, like, looks like it's drooping all the time. Characters were as deep as a kiddie pool. Hydra Bob was in it, who I much prefer in Jerry Dugan's run and Mark Waid's run. This one just felt bland and tasteless. Oh no, female Taskmaster. That's kind of a cool concept. They ruined it here just like they did in the Black Widow movie. It's all spoilers for Black Widow, but this book, it's just not great. I mean, if you want to read Deadpool and you want to read a good run, sure, the curse words will be censored. Oh no. Read the Jerry Dugan or Mark Waid run. Those two are the best Deadpool runs ever. Especially that Jerry Dugan run. Chef's kiss, that one's great. This book right here, 2 out of 10. Don't really pick it up. But I have another Deadpool one to review sometime later, probably next week, so yay. Now my final one, the one I've waited for a long time. The Red Goblin. This story right here is the perfect send-off for Dan Slott. Dan Slott had been writing Spider-Man since like early 500s, and this was issue 800, I believe. He may have been written since early 600s, but I know he wrote for a long time. And let me tell you, he never missed a beat on Spider-Man. Now, if we're talking about new Spider-Man, Nick Spencer, it's not that great. Nick Spencer, not my favorite author of all time. The 3 stories that come to mind when I think of him, number 1 is his Amazing Spider-Man run, which he kind of had going for a while with Kindred, which had me invested. They just ruined it. Number 2 would be his Sam Wilson Captain America, which was just so wordy. I read all 5 volumes, and it just was so bad. And number 3 is Secret Empire. if you know anything about Secret Empire, Captain America becomes a Nazi. For what reason? Because why not? Shock value, woo! So getting off that rant, I don't like Nick Spencer. Dan Slott, on the other hand, is my favorite Spider-Man author ever. He's so good. Well, maybe Chip Zdarsky's better, but, personal preference. I like both about the same. So this is the final end to Dan Slott's run and the Spider-Man Worldwide series. It's led directly from the Superior Spider-Man to a mid one to this one. And Worldwide involves him having a business. So he has Parker Industries. It falls at some point. Now he's like down on his luck, barely has any money. The Red Goblin involves Norman Osborn getting the Carnage symbiote. Now the Carnage symbiote, it's already crazy. Norman Osborn, he's crazy with the Goblin serum. These two mix together perfectly. And it involves the death of someone that's my favorite hero of all time, and his death hit like a truck reading this. I'm not gonna lie, this is the second time I've read this story. The first time I read it was about a year or two ago, and I read it again because I wanted to review it, and it's still as good as I remember. Dan Slott's run is so good, all of it. Never misses a beat writing Spider-Man. I don't know how he is on his other works. All I know is I love his Spider-Man. So, now for the review, because I'm going to give the rating, and if you want to stick around for my spoilers and the character's death, feel free. If you want to read this book on your own, you're free to go now. This book, 12 out of 10. Pick up all of Dan Slott's run. Read it all. It's so good. Okay. So, goodbye. Have a great day. Like, comment, subscribe. Now, if you're sticking around for spoilers, here's what I have to say. Flash Thompson dies. Flash Thompson, Agent Anti-Venom, the best Spider-Man character ever, dies. And his death is one of the saddest things. Let's see if I can find the scene. There it is. So, Norman attacks him, and Spidey's trying to give him the suit back because he's wearing the Venom suit at the moment because he's attacking him. And he's like, Flash, let me do this. And Flash's like, no, the world needs Spider-Man. It doesn't need me, and dies. And that death hurts so bad because he's such a great character. He's back now, the new Venom brought him back, but at that point, he wasn't. When I read this, he wasn't back. He was still dead. And that was over 2 years ago, so he hasn't been back since then. This is like 2016, 17, 18-ish time. Flash Thompson died, and it was sad because he's been there since Amazing Fantasy 15. Then there's a scene at his funeral, and the line Peter delivers is just heartbreaking because he's talking, and Betty's like, oh, it wasn't Betty's husband, it was her boyfriend, though, for a while. And the line Peter delivers about it is just, it's a gut wrench. Because, Flash was a bully to Peter. So Peter says, I want you to know that I want to change. Because of you, Eugene Flash Thompson, I hope you can be proud of me. I know you're my friend, but there's something I never told you. I'm your #1 fan. You're the hero I look up to. And that hurts so much more after Flash learns that Peter is Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man was Flash's hero. So knowing that Peter also looked up to Flash as a hero is a punch in the gut. That's why I love this story so much. The Red Goblin, you can see the character design here, who looks absolutely amazing. And he just goes crazy attacking everyone. Him being crazy, Flash's gut wrench death. That's why this story is my #1 pick for everyone to read if you want to read Spider-Man. If you stuck around this long, you're interested in hearing me talk about this, so why not consider subscribing? Other than that, have a good day, and I'll see you later.